It is the week of December 7th. Welcome, everybody. My name is Matt Stoner, here with Max Rice and Stephen Anthony Lawrence. This is the Rice and Beans Show. Gentlemen, let's get started for the day with the re-implementation of DACA. And one of the biggest news stories of the week this past Friday was the case of Vidal versus Chad Wolf. Chad Wolf, of course, being the supposed acting Homeland Security chair, and then the re-implementation of DACA and what that means for Joe Biden. What are our thoughts in terms of how things have gone this far, and do we think that the now, I hate to say stacked, but stacked Supreme Court is going to continue to uphold this ruling?
Well, everyone's going to remember how much Obama sucked, because DACA is like kind of is bad for everyone. It's bad if you're a conservative, bad if you're a liberal, and to me it's cruel and unusual. We'll see what happens on the court side. It's been reaffirmed in most courts. It's been shut down in a few others. We'll see what the Supreme Court says. But I think people forget what the first two words of DACA stand for. The DA is deferred action. There isn't a path to citizenship. Like, you can't get a misdemeanor or a crime, so you're just like permanently paranoid, and kind of makes immigrants really vulnerable. And you're really just like, you're spending more money. It's like bad financially, bad morally. So we should like stop kicking the can. And just like, so I think DACA is like a terrible policy, and we'll be remembered of that when Biden implements it. But like, for the time being, everyone that's in DACA, like, I don't think there should be any lateral action either way, and it should be like case by case basis. And I feel bad for everyone in DACA that you have to keep like reinstating to be here. It's like some cruel and unusual.
I mean, but that's where we are.
Shit.
That's what happens
Yeah.
when America is so polarized that we can't agree on anything. I mean, literally,
Agreed.
People don't really take into account how much immigration affects everything. For conservatives, how much do you think your avocado toast is gonna spike through the roof if it costs $1 million to go to produce it or whatever? A lot of people, it is a good Band-Aid, but I don't know if we don't get the Senate, vast immigration reform is going to be possible in today's culture. I've said a million times, I doubt we'll ever be able to get another amendment in the next 20 years because of so many people have to agree on everything. But just DACA, it makes sense because people need to be in this country to work, live here. It protects people. My mother actually came over here from Italy with her mom, fleeing Hitler in World War II. So it's kind of a touchy subject because her herself was a dreamer, before it was a thing. It definitely freaks me out how someone can be kicked out of the country to a place that they haven't been since they were 3-4 years old. We need vast amounts of legislation change. Look at the pro-democracy people in Hong Kong. We have literally probably a handful of people like that get into the country that really want to be here. And we make it so tough to become a citizen. If you asked, probably about 40% of average people, what immigrants have to take on that test, I don't think a lot of Americans would pass it that were frankly born here.
Yeah.
Stephen, wait, I got to say something. We got to clarify, because as a conservative, I would not be caught. I would never be caught with avocado toast. That's never happening. So let's clear that up
liberal
right there.
is the liberal avocado toast. Let's be real about that.
No. But at the same time, it's really interesting because even in my lifetime, we're all our lifetimes, we're all around the same age. I'm like, I think the youngest barely, or Matt's the youngest barely, but it's interesting how the parties kind of flipped on the issue of immigration, because Republicans used to want that cheap guacamole, not the avocado toast. They wanted that cheap guacamole, so they were more free trade, more immigration, and Democrats were more, we want to protect our unions and keep those wages high, we don't want immigrants. And so it's really interesting to see the parties flip. And you actually kind of saw Obama like talking a lot of crap against the Hispanic community for voting Trump. So maybe like Biden will continue to be a deporter in chief, because Obama did have the record for deportation. So like progressives that were protesting for the last 4 years, I hope you protest Biden if he goes in that direction.
Very true.
Yeah,
That is a very fair point. That's a very fair point.
It's the old argument of Obama built the cages and Trump filled them. But Stephen, you made a really interesting point earlier as well, which is sort of the divide where the Senate stands as well. Right now, as of this taping, we are looking at a 50-48 standing with the 2 Senate races in Georgia that are still in runoff status. And I'm really interested to see whether or not McConnell uses this as a ploy to help block his cabinet so that things like DACA cannot continue to go through. One of the things that people are very concerned about is filling the cabinet very early on. And this might be a good segue, unless you gentlemen wanted to talk about this a little bit more, but into the cabinet, and specifically Biden's first 100 days and what we think that's going to look like.
First off, to take your first comment, I mean, Republicans being a bunch of obstructionists in Congress, that would never happen.
Never.
Especially
never.
with good old Mitch. We never have to worry about Mitch McConnell. He is, the one steady thing.
Well, because and also I hate like all these any progressive or liberal that was cheering on Mitt Romney as like the one Republican with values. People forget he was the one as a candidate said that we were the party of no, and we were supposed to obstruct Obama. And I've said on that show that was terrible, and I hope they don't go in that direction. But
to speak on that, to speak on that, what makes it extremely disheartening is the House. We just passed federal marijuana, right? Woo. However, who knows if the Senate will ever hear it because, obviously, our, the majority head in the Senate is going to be Mitch McConnell. Mm-hmm. Possibly.
And the president, and the president's Joe Biden, who doesn't like that green, that funny smelling stuff. That went back into
his plan's interesting. But
and Kamala Harris, who should smoke weed to Tupac, but arrest a bunch of,
my
anyone.
My point, though, is,
a bunch of 12-year-olds.
We see this on both sides, man.
Yeah.
On both sides, man. The head of the party can go hold up this McConnell for this and say, hey, no, we're not going to vote on it. And then our individual people, we can't hold them accountable because we don't know what the heck they would have done.
Oh, yeah.
It's interesting, too, because you're looking at, especially something like marijuana reform. I'm trying to look it up now, but last time I checked, I think it was 73% of people in this country actually supported some legalization of marijuana, and I think it was closer to 80 or 90%.
And the other 27% were too high to take that survey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. No, so I think it'll be interesting to see what happens in the first 100 days. In the last few days, we did find out he will be keeping on Dr. Anthony Fauci, who has been in his post since I believe 1985, which means that he will have in 5 more years he will have had 40 years in the same job at the infectious disease unit. And then as well as I think one of the most controversial things, as it shouldn't be, is the request to wear masks for the first 100 days. Of course, Monchef's...
Matt, can I thank you for pointing out that Fauci's been there for 40 years. And, what's happened in those 40 years? Remember the AIDS crisis? Remember, when we were really mad at how... Yeah, no, he was... Fumbled it. I'm sorry, all the entire LGBT community that was stigmatized and lost out on jobs and relationships and people literally wouldn't hang out because they thought they would get AIDS and die just from shaking someone's hand.
Yeah,
my bad for fumbling that.
He didn't approve a medicine that was meant to help it. I mean, there are, and that's the thing. You in a position like that, you are working with the information that you have at the time. I get that. This is the same thing he was doing with COVID.
Sorry, LGBT
people weaponized that against him, but then to have George W. Bush give him a medal for his work in the AIDS crisis, and then Republicans turn against him and go, "Oh, he's politically motivated to do X, Y, and Z." It's kind of crazy.
Well, George W. Bush, no one liked. I think his approval rating was in the 30s at the end, and so he was someone that actually turned me away from the Republican Party. And so when he said "Good job, Brownie," when he said "Good job, Brownie" to Michael Brown with how what's it called? How FEMA handled Hurricane Katrina, he didn't do a good job. The only good job he did was he gave Taylor Hicks money that he used to try out for American Idol. That was the one. That was the one.
There was a lot. There was a lot going on with Hurricane.
Bush was terrible, just freaking awful. And
if you would look back 10 years ago and said, you know what, in 10 years you will wish that George W. Bush was your president, and Kanye West, who stood in front of the television and said George Bush doesn't care about black people, would be the, I guess, pop culture blackface of the Republican Party.
Wait, so you think Bush messed up Katrina, which honestly I think it was category 3 to 5. At some points it wasn't even a category 5. It was just terrible preparation and terrible response. But so you think he would do a good job with COVID, W. Bush?
Oh no.
It was manslaughter, man, because
Yeah.
they knew those levees were screwed up for years before that, man.
Yeah.
And no, it was. I'm sorry, man. I know that's a crazy statement to say, but man, they knew those levees were
not at all.
up.
That's not a crazy statement at all. Yeah, that's just historical fact.
Man, it's if you keep installing faulty equipment, man, you're liable.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, look at the one governor. I think it was the governor. I think of the state was ordering people if they crossed that one bridge. You remember the Under the Levee documentary on HBO?
Oh, Spike Lee.
The one.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one governor or mayor was saying
Ray
that
Nagin?
if the residents crossed over into this other town, they would be shot on sight.
Yeah, no, that was the martial law. No, it's crazy, but it's crazy. I mean, it's kind of like people need to realize that. Yeah, we had martial law
to find food and water, basic.
Oh yeah,
basic human animal shit, food and water.
And the people and all the people and families that were doing the right thing. They were following orders. They were told to stay put, and they were stuck on roofs for like weeks. Like flagging down helicopters, and they did the right thing. Yeah, these weren't criminals.
Do we see any mirror at this point? Except you don't have people stuck on roofs, but it's the people that are doing the right thing that are somehow being penalized for obeying the right thing, and then there's people out there partying. Like California just locked down as of midnight
like the
tonight.
Small
We're shooting
businesses
this on what is it, Sunday?
Like the small businesses that are shutting down their businesses, they're following orders, but they're getting completely destroyed. And
I mean, Orange County's saying that they're not gonna enforce it to a degree. I mean, there's meetings with individual mayors where they're saying they're not gonna do it. But circling back to the 100 days, so Biden has kind of gone through. There's a few different things. He's backing the stimulus package, the $908 billion bipartisan package that, of course, some Republicans support, some Democrats support. If you're looking on the far left, like AOC and Bernie, of course, they don't support it because it doesn't do enough. And Biden seems to be taking that perspective as well. Do you think that the stimulus package, as proposed, is enough for the American people, even though there is no direct payment to them? Of course, it's reinvigorating the Paycheck Protection Program. It's providing a little bit more money for loans. Are they doing enough, or are they falling short on coronavirus relief once again?
Well, they're following falling $1.1 trillion short, because that's what Trump offered before the election. But
they're not doing shit.
Turned that down. What are your thoughts on that? That literally it's less than half of what was offered 2 weeks ago.
I think it's really interesting that they're failing. I mean, they are not accurately.
No, man, this is one thing that really pisses me. I'm just trying really hard not to cuss.
Yeah.
YouTube algorithm, please keep us on here.
Praise China. China. We'll get back up.
It aggravates the heck out of me, man, because people are playing politics when you should be out here trying to really help people. People need this money. You cannot tell people to stay in their home and shut down their lives and then not give them any food for their family. It is not a realistic game plan.
Yeah.
We don't know. When the vaccine is going to be ready.
We don't know when.
And
you
Republicans out there, I don't know what the defense contractors, what sort of blackmail they have on you, and these big corporations. But you need to cut the crap. McConnell, Lindsey Graham.
I'm going to get on my Kanye soapbox for a second.
Yeah,
the American government doesn't care about the people.
No. Yeah,
they care about themselves.
Expand.
They care about themselves. At least the political parties, as they are now, care about themselves.
Shocker.
It's just insane, how they're picking winners and losers, and how the winners all happen to be Fortune 500 companies and people with connections. And it's just unreal.
Well, that's okay. So going into, we can always circle back to this. I know we do want to talk about pardons, but I think that's actually probably something better to end on. So the political party system. We do keep saying that the political party system is broken. We have a two-party system, and you generally, in my opinion, see the 5% of dissenting voices on both sides are the ones that get the most noise, and there's about 90% of us that are sitting in the middle going, just please shut up. We just want to put food on our tables. We want to operate as normal people. Do we think that there is a viable third party out there that can get enough clout to represent all of the American people, or are we stuck in the system at least for the next 4 years until Biden leaves office?
Well, the current third parties are pretty disorganized. There is some hope. Shout out Joe Henchman, new president of the Libertarian Party. He's a step in the right direction, but they're still a freaking mess. But one silver lining is, at least in Like, one huge barrier to entry, which is complete bullshit, write your congressperson about, is, at least in the state of Illinois and a lot of states across America, it's like there's a lot of extra burdens that third parties and independents face that mainstream parties don't, like signature requirements. Like, it used to be if you, it still is in most of Illinois, that if you want to run for office, you need 10 times more signatures if you're a third party or independent, which is unreal, because then the main parties can challenge those signatures and just kind of bury you in court the entire time. And at least in Cook County, which is where Chicago is, Libertarian Party, they gained major party status. So they'll just need the normal amount of signatures. But that should change all over. It should be easy to get.
Fact of the matter is, since both parties have become so damn far extreme now, both Republicans, both Democrats even, have gone so far right, there's a ton of room over here in the middle. Absolutely. The kicker, though, is it's been trending that way for decades, and Democrats kind of realized this with Bernie Sanders, that, well, it's kind of easier to take over, the Democratic Party than to start a new one. I think maybe the, Republicans, the country club Republicans, need to maybe take a lesson from that. Because there's going to be the never Trumpers that are still Republican, but it's going to be totally impossible to reinvent a new party now. And
didn't we kind of see that with the Tea Party?
It doesn't.
The never Trumpers are joining the Biden administration. That's where they're at, like Cindy McCain, and I'm sure John Kasich is going to be something, but yeah,
he'll probably be in the damn cabinet, knowing Biden.
Absolutely, but regardless, I think what really needs to happen for Republicans and Democrats is if you're there's such polarization. Like, there's 33 state rep districts kind of in the Cook County area. There was only 30 seats. There was only 3 seats that had challengers on both sides. And you see that in hard red areas too, like in Alabama, where it's just like people are running unopposed all the time. And I don't think we're going to see change until you see more Democrats like kind of saying their ideas in the hard red areas, kind of pulling people center, and more Republicans in the hard blue areas kind of pulling them center and keeping the politicians honest.
So do you think that, is this something that term limits could also help as well? Or do you think it's realistically people, because I get it, like getting people out of office is going to be a beneficial thing. It will take several election cycles. But, is it feasible to say we can survive as a nation through all of the trying times that we have coming up, even as polarized as we are, as long as we ensure that we're getting fresh faces in Congress?
I don't think term limits is the right battle, because I'm for them, but here's the thing: is you could just keep hopping from state rep to state house, senator to president to governor to comptroller. So you could just keep hopping around, and you need to convince people to vote against their own interests at the end of the day.
That'll never happen.
Yeah.
That'll never happen because power begets power. It would be great, but so then what can we do there? What's the answer? How do the American people
run for office? More people need to run for office. I ran for under $300.
Who the hell is going to?
I did.
Who wants to be in politics in these?
I know, but we need
because
even if they lose, we need people to kind of keep these assholes honest. Because there are people that are just straight, should be criminals, and just are terrible. Some people aren't even mentally there. There are some people that question their cognitive abilities are even worse than Biden's, and so even worse. Yeah, no. So we need people to run for office,
and break out the guillotine. I think we just need to bring back the guillotine.
So my ballot,
Go to the public square.
I only had 3 competitive options on my ballot when I had 100 races, if you include all the judges. How is that not fascism, one party rule? If I only can choose one person, regardless Democrat or Republican, so that needs to change.
Yeah,
and that will change.
Oh, so you're suggesting we vote as a first choice, second choice, third choice system?
No, I'm saying that we need a first and second choice. Ranked choice voting is a discussion for another day. But if it's just one, I'm saying 75% of our ballot or above is just one person, and that to me is how's that any different than communist China or North Korea?
You're voting to verify somebody you're not. The only feasible way to break out of that when there is only one candidate is write-in. and there's nobody running against them. So you're
Yeah.
basically you're just voting for the only person on the ballot. I get what you're saying.
So I think we need to lower the air barrier of entry to run and just encourage people to run. That's the only way out of it. And term limits, like it's this like corruption's kind of it's like water, as Bruce Lee would say. They'll just find another fucking way to sneak in.
But yeah, speaking
But,
of,
I mean, that's the problem, though, man. How are you going to convince people? Okay, how though? How are you going to convince people to walk around with a big old target on their back to run be a politician?
Well, here's the good news. Here's the good news of a global pandemic and just like a depression that they've never seen in 100 years. Is we're gonna have a lot of people that just don't care anymore and are unemployed, have nothing to lose, and so that's the one silver lining of all this. Is you're gonna have tens
So we're
of
going to
millions.
employ them in government.
No, they're gonna run for office because they're gonna be like, I could either go in a dangerous direction or go in a positive direction.
A for anarchy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm not an anarchist.
No.
I know you like Brock Pierce, speaking of third parties, right? Isn't he anarchist?
Brock Pierce
technicist.
had a great 4 days where he was like
Mighty
in
Duck too.
for it. I worked for him for a little while. I was part
Yeah.
of his campaign. They told me that they weren't going to be running in battleground states, and then all of a sudden
Great
he starts
strategy.
releasing videos about talking about how he's going to be running in battleground states. I was like, dude, if you're lying to your own staffers, like, what are you doing? His whole thing is Bitcoin, blockchain, like a bunch of other stuff. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. But also, he got caught up in another scandal because apparently one of his business partners was sexually trafficking.
Oh yeah, no,
Children.
a few of them. Brian Singer
So-
and then two others, or whatever.
Speaking of sexually trafficking
but
children, let's talk about
Matt.
pardons.
No, but Matt, before that, but like, isn't
Matt!
that a pre-qualifier to run for president these days? Like, you need at least
Yeah,
some sex
something
trafficking
like that.
ties. Yeah, at least a few.
It's something. I mean,
Yeah.
with where Epstein is. Also, why is nobody talking about Ghislaine Maxwell? What happened to her?
Nobody!
Where is she? Where are people like, oh, where's Ghislaine?
Well, why did Bill?
How's Harvey
No,
Weinstein
no,
doing?
Nobody cares about that
but
anymore.
here's the thing: is why is it just Ghislaine? Why are we just going after Ghislaine when there were clearly a bunch of co-conspirators that the media even talks about, like the Russian airline pilot girl and like a bunch of people?
Because
So why are
one
they
of
just
them's
going
the
after
president.
Ghislaine?
Well, anyways,
Yeah.
no, okay, so
Because she's a great figurehead, is why, dude. You know, people want to see.
We need more though.
But
Yeah.
people want to put the name to the face. I think if you blur the lines with all these different people, it becomes more like a conspiracy theory than it even needs to be. You know, because hey,
you
got
make
this
people
lady,
feel
yeah,
good once
she's
you've
a lady
arrested
pimp.
somebody.
But Steven,
Yeah.
we're not going to get her. We're not going to get her because it's just the U.S. versus her, and she could find some technicality or some bullshit, or kind of lean onto that former sweetheart deal that Epstein made and not go after co-conspirators. This is kind of a bullshit case the way it's running. So Barr,
Well, it's interesting
shame on
because
you.
you think of all of these things too, where people are. You want to catch the figurehead, right? So you have the Me Too movement in Hollywood. And they got Harvey Weinstein, and everyone's like, "Oh, we're happy." And then there was that stuff with Kevin Spacey, and there was another actor. I'm not going to say it because I don't want to get sued. But I was at Sundance in 2011, widely known, probably a predator, walked up to me, grabbed my dick, and was like, "Hey, you're coming with me." And I was like, "No, I am not."
Sorry.
So yeah, it's like this. It's,
Whoa, that's a.
Oh yeah.
No,
Yeah, no.
Oh, yeah.
I'm laughing in terms of just holy shit. That's new information.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
sorry
no,
that you went through that.
That happened. There was a guy that was priming me to try and go meet with a director when I was 15 years old. It's interesting because they caught the figurehead, but there are people that are still known that are out there, probably still doing this shit. Which is
Well, it's because they're not
Yeah,
interested in justice. Because when they wanted to get John Gotti, they needed to flip Sammy the Bull Gravato to get Gotti. And so, I think the reason why they get the figureheads is it's kind of oh shit, people are paying attention and they care. We got to feed one of our own to the sharks so that the party can still go on.
Yeah. Speaking of feeding our own to the sharks, this is actually probably a better transition to talking about the pardons or the alleged pardons that are coming out. Of course, Donald Trump will be leaving office, and there are a few different theories as to what's going on. So first of all, there's the preemptive pardon that he's thinking about issuing his own children, the pardon against Rudy Giuliani, and then, of course, he could pull a Nixon, resign 5 minutes before Biden sworn in, and then get pardoned himself by Mike Pence. Do we think this is possible? Do we think that this will protect him in any way whatsoever because the Southern District of New York wants to go after him anyways, and he can only issue federal pardons? And do we think he's going to do any of this after the last couple of weeks?
You answered it for me, dude. Yeah, I mean, it'll protect him maybe federally, but, then that's just it. The states, are going to be able to prosecute him too, and we know the Southern District prosecutor in New York doesn't exactly got a bit
Max,
of a hard on
your
for
perspective on this. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Well, there was
I
that
mean,
case
just
that came
like
out. MSNBC
every
dropped
yeah.
that story. MSNBC dropped that story about how, and we cannot verify that he was involved whatsoever, but there was, and it's heavily redacted, saying that there was somebody that was going for a pay-or-play scheme so that he could get some sort of federal pardon. So they were interested in making a sizable campaign contribution to the Trump campaign. Again, we do not know if he knew this or if anybody close to him knew it.
Well, my I don't want to get demonetized, but my friend Smalix Spones, the radio host whose name rhymes with Smalix Spones, was saying on the Joe Rogan podcast, like he was talking about that before that came out, that that large corporations were trying to corrupt a lot of the people around Trump, and that's what it seems like. It was like someone near Kushner that they were paying to get a pardon, but it didn't happen. And in my lifetime, it seems like almost every president has been like a complete war criminal, and has like made money from the office, and they've all been fine. Everyone thought that Bush was going to jail for a bunch of different things, and that didn't happen. So I don't even think Trump's going to pardon himself, and I don't think he'll face any consequences. And it sounds like he's going to want to run in 2024, but like, let's keep it real. He is older. He's got to be healthy. So.
Well, that's it's interesting the point that Mary Trump made as well. She basically said, "Look, he's never going to put himself in any position where he thinks that he can lose." There are juries out as to whether or not he, and you cannot diagnose somebody from a distance, obviously, as to whether or not he does possess tendencies of narcissistic personality disorder. And if he does, I mean, that's the thing. He will never put himself in a position again that he could feel like he lost. That's the reason he's fighting everything. He needs a scapegoat.
I could see him having his own show on Fox News after this. I really could, because...
Oh, no, you guys, have you seen Fox News' rating? It's great. It's like down like over half.
So
that's
my
point. So the real plan, if he doesn't run for president, he's going to start the Trump News Network.
Exactly.
TNN,
or he would
100%.
just start the Trump News Network, or he would have his own show on Fox. Fox would offer him...
No chance.
Fox could offer him a very, very sweet deal to kind of make amends.
No chance. Have you guys been seeing Fox News lately?
They've been such
smarmy freaking jackasses. Oh, it's been the worst. Like they've been even
ratings matter though, man. You don't I think
but have you seen the ratings? It's down. It's like
it wouldn't be like
now.
that if they hired Trump. I hate to say it.
Yeah, but Trump.
The guys that walk into
the guys that walk in. Does he want to talk to a network? Like, does Trump want to walk into a network and go, "Hey, you have such bad ratings. I'm not going to go anywhere near you." Like, I feel like that's something that he would do. He would purposefully. First of all, he has a level of vindictiveness against them, anyways, for not standing back to him always. Is he willing to touch a network that has low ratings?
Oh yeah, they're the lowest. Now. They were the high. They used to be double. They used to be double CNN, and now they're half MSNBC. And so I don't think Trump's. The real question is who from Fox is going to jump ship, because they've all kind of been. They're all just kind of like, fuck Fox News, man. Bunch of limousine conservative like country club smarmy bastards. Like haven't done shit with their life. Like none of them are veterans, but they all like want to go to war and like fuck all of them, man. And no, there's probably a few good ones. So I shouldn't. Completely. And I don't even mind Tucker. You guys should give Tucker a shot. He actually has a lot of progressive policies. And he's like a good interviewer.
He always says it.
I can't listen to him. Especially Schmalik Schmones, who just yells at the camera the whole time, and it's 95% bullshit.
1776.
Anyways,
I don't agree with everything Schmalik Schmones says. Just I think he's funny. I do think he's funny.
I don't care about the frog sexuality.
But my favorite, one of my favorite memes.
He's right about, that goes back to Flint. Like the gay frogs goes back to Flint. He was talking about how the water's dirty, and there is stuff in the water that was making the frogs LGBTQ in that area. There really was, and it's because the water was fucking just so much hormones and shit.
Okay, just maybe it has.
That's not what makes someone gay. That's not what makes someone gay. But if you were to
Is there lead in the water? Is there?
But
give me a break, dude.
Yeah.
Have you seen the video of the frog and the monkey?
Yeah. But there's painkillers there's so much shit in the water and whatever area.
That's crazy. Yeah. The amount of drugs and medicine that are in American waterways are crazy.
Absolutely.
Speaking of drugs, wait, no, I'm kidding. So last topic of the day, let's go ahead and jump over there. There seems to have been, or there has been, a major mental health crisis surrounding the coronavirus pandemic. The Washington Post put out a very good article about males in general realizing that through the pandemic they do need to have more deeply rooted friendships because a lot of these sort of superficial friendships are about going out with your buddies and watching football and grabbing a beer and things like that just generally have not been accessible to people during the pandemic. I know that you guys have not differing views, but different perspectives as to how the article resonated with you. So I'd like to address that directly at this point, and just sort of see, I'll start with you, Steven, and then jump over to Max, what you took from the article and how it's actually impacted you and your mental health specifically, if you're comfortable with it going through the pandemic.
It is. I've always kind of been a little bit of an isolationist, especially in recent years. So, the pandemic, frankly, didn't really affect me very much. I always kind of consider myself like the Grinch. The Grinch didn't not like Christmas, he just hated people, which was fair. So, frankly, I don't know if it's really affected me that much, but I think getting older definitely played a vital role in, just maturing as a guy, because, we talk about how insecure sometimes women, young women can be. What about young guys? We have the same issues. Well, look at the toys that are marketed to young boys. Look at He-Man, for Christ's sakes. You don't think some little scrawny kid is gonna look at his He-Man doll and not feel adequate? Come on now.
Not everybody
Steven,
can have
that's
these
why you're
guns,
my guy,
Steven.
man.
Come on.
That's why you're my guy, because
give me a break. We're taught this BS just like women are.
Yeah.
But we get it on a different scale.
Yeah, but Steven, I look at the Grinch and I'm like, that guy's in way too good a mood. Like, why are you happy? Like, why you? No, I'm in the same dude. That's why you're my freaking guy. Like, we both. I don't know if I'm not a psychologist, so if I'm not sure if I'm an extrovert or introvert, but I could definitely, I could have fun staring at a wall. So I've always been able to make myself self-enjoyable. I was a lifeguard for a while too, and I could sleep in any position.
Oh, dude, I was always kind of a lonely kid. That's kind of why I became an actor, because I was always kind of talking to myself in my room and performing for frickin' my imaginary shadow people.
Yeah, no, but I will say, I will say, since the pandemic, I've gotten a lot more friends because people have just kind of reassessed their lives and we're like, shit, we should be paying attention to politics and the stock market, in smart people crap instead of let's drink beers and watch football. No one talks like that, but you know what I'm saying. So I do think a lot of people kind of came back around. And I've always kind of been.
Maybe if we're not killing all of our brain cells, we might. Oh wait.
No, so a lot of people that I've was friends with or was more acquaintance with have become more just trying to have those deep conversations about philosophy and politics, and so I've probably gained more friends this pandemic. Even though this pandemic fucking sucks and it's tragic, and it's just sad dealing every day with people on deathbeds and dying, but. I do think that the article, we should definitely put in the comments, is kind of true. We're kind of forced people to reassess what's important. Mm-hmm. Even though me and Beans have been, I'm the Cookie Monster, he's the Grinch.
Homies for life.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Grouchy boys for life. Groucho's probably my favorite comedian. Is my favorite Marx brother for sure. Yeah.
Oh, Grouchy Marx.
Groucho.
Just to end it, I was reading this how the Grinch was actually. Oh gosh, I'm gonna screw this up. Scrooge was a capitalist, and the Grinch was a socialist.
No one wins. Everyone sucks.
True.
But was Scrooge a capitalist at the end of the movie or at the beginning?
Oh, definitely at the beginning.
Oh, I was gonna say. Yeah.
That's the story of a Christmas Story? It's
Christmas
pure,
story.
Unfettered capitalism will solve all of the world's ails. True. Very true.
God bless us. Everyone.
Every white American. Anyways, gentlemen, do you have any closing remarks for the day, or should we call it a day and see everyone next week?
Gosh, be safe in these crazy times, guys. Guys, mice. God. Be
Mice.
safe in these crazy times, guys.
2 mice fell into a bucket of cream.
God.
But let's see everyone next
gave
week.
up right
let's see
away.
everyone next week. Unless they don't like or subscribe, then fuck them. You're gone.
Yeah, like,
You're-
subscribe.
You're
If
done.
you got to the end of the if you got to the end of the video, like, subscribe, and watch us next week.
Wipe it down. Wipe it down. Like that button. Share it. And then come back. We'll hang
Wipe
out.
on.
Wipe the camera off.
Yeah.
Wipe off.
Yeah.
Wipe on. Wipe off.
We'll steal
All right.
Christmas.
Everybody,
Yeah.
have a great week. Everybody, please stay safe out there. California, I know you are locked down. Please just follow the best of the guidelines to the best of your abilities. We are all in this together, and thank you all for watching. Scroll down, subscribe, and we'll see you all next week.
Thank you.